Okay. I'm going to start with a serious topic here. What is worse for the NBA? A bigger problem, load management or too many three-pointers?
Dan, that's a great question because I think they're both problems. It's just now it's a three-point shooting contest. But what's going to be the biggest problem going forward when we have guys making 80, 90, $100 million not playing back-to-back games? That's to me. I mean, listen, the three-point thing bothers me because, of course, if they're going in, you're going to win, but you got to have a plan B. But when that new TV deal kicks in next year and you got a guy making $85 million and he says, hey, you know what? I'm not going to play back-to-back games. It's ridiculous to think fans are going to pay as much as it costs to go to games now. And now you're going to have to go out and start doing streaming going forward. We can't have a guy making $95 million saying, I can't play basketball 4 days a week. And actually, in fairness, most teams play 3 games a week, but let's say hypothetically you play 4 games. You can't ask fans to pay that money for a guy making $95 million won't play back-to-back games. If anybody think that's a good idea, they're crazy.
Okay, but how do you fix load management?
You play basketball, man. We're the luckiest dudes in the world. See, this is the thing that bothers me about the entire 76er thing. Like, number one, you don't tell people you're not going to play back-to-back games. That's just where the stupidity started. But also, then, if you're tired or a little sore, which every basketball player is during the season, hey, you know what, coach? I'm going to play 25 minutes tonight. I'm not going to play 42. That, to me, is my biggest problem with load management. Just play 25 to 27 minutes. Like, when you're a star, you're going to play basically between 35 and 45 minutes most nights. But if you're going to play back-to-back or you want to load management, just tell the coach, hey, coach, I'm going to give you 25 tonight. Maybe we can push it 27, 30. But because, Adam Silver, who's amazing, he killed most of the back-to-backs anyway.
Yeah.
So, I think the load management, you can't ask people out here who go out here and get their hard-earned money on, like, real jobs. They say, I'm coming to see this great player play. And he, like I said, he's making $80, $100 to $100 million. Well, he sit it out because he was tired. That's not sustainable.
What if you just got paid for the number of games you played?
Dude, them dudes will be playing 85 games, not 82. Dude, Dan, we don't have like a real job. We're playing basketball.
But do I have to incentivize these guys making this much money that if you play this many games, you get, like, there's a bonus? You have to do something here. I think we got a real problem with too many threes. The game is not great. And I just think, when you got guys who, they think nothing of sitting down, of sitting out.
Dan, when you say that or I say that, we're the old get off my lawn guys. And I don't care if they say that because, man, we're playing basketball. We're not a nurse. I'm pretty sure nurses don't want to go in sometime. Guys who work in the steel mills, who work in construction, I'm pretty sure they don't want to go in. But, man, I've always told people the most important thing should be the game. And it's really getting to the point where it's embarrassing that we actually ever having this conversation. Because if you go back and look at basketball, the greatest players ever, number one, they had to go to college for 3 and 4 years. But they played the whole games. They played in crappy shoes. They flew commercial. Injuries now that you're back in 6 months or a year into your career, we got the best medical stuff. We got guys sleeping in hyperbaric chambers. We got guys doing cold water plunges. This is, from a physical standpoint, this is probably the greatest time to play sports. Can you imagine as a football player, and I'm going to be serious for a second here, this is probably the greatest time to ever play football because, number one, the money you make, but also if you get a sniff of a concussion, you're not gonna play. You go back and look in our day, they're putting that smelling stuff under your nose, like get back out there, get back out there. Now, if you got a concussion, you're probably not gonna play, and that's great. But like, this is the best time ever to play sports. Number one, financially, but from a health standpoint and a medical standpoint, this is the greatest time ever.
Well, the NBA is nowhere as physical as it was back when you played. So you can factor that in of you don't have back-to-back games. It's not as physical. These guys should be in better shape. There's the money that's attached to this. Like there's no LeBron shouldn't be the guy who says, I want to play every game this season. But he is saying that he wants to play.
But LeBron, he's amazing. But then you just laid it out right there. You said these guys should want to play basketball, but for the financial and all this stuff. That's the part that hurts me as an older player. I'm like, man, the most money I ever made, and I'm blessed. I'm blessed for $5 million. Let me tell you something. For $75-80 million a year, I'd get to the game early. I'm like, hey, we were talking about Zion last year getting in shape. I said, yo, man, for $70-80 million, you know what they be saying? I'm worried about that Charles Barkley. He's out here anemic. He's got an eating disorder. He's too skinny. I mean, and I mean that sincerely. I got in shape for $2 million. My first contract was 4 years, $2 million. I lost 50 pounds because I was fat in college. Dan, I would be totally anorexic for $75-80 million. And I know that's a serious subject, but for the kind of money these guys are making today, God bless them. God bless them. I'm not a hater, dude. But to go play basketball for the money we're making today, then worst case scenario, think about this. Worst case scenario, you would never play more than 4 games in a week. Think about that. We don't fly commercial anymore. Like I said, you got the best shoes, you got the best medical stuff. It's an embarrassment that we have to beg these players. It's embarrassing as an older player that we have to beg these guys to play basketball. I mean that sincerely.
Charles Barkley, Turner Sports Inside the NBA analyst. Do you have a statue?
Yes. I got one at Auburn. I got one at the Philadelphia 76ers facility. They put miniatures up. I got one with at Auburn. It's really an honor. You know what's really funny? When I met with those people the first time, it was a really awful looking statue. Before they got the finished product, I said, yo, man, what are you doing? And he says, well, I got like 4 or 5 pictures of you, and I'm trying to merge them together. I said, yo, man, stop it. Pick one picture, and we're good. It's an honor for the statue. But, yeah, man, that Dwayne Wade thing, that's awful, man.
I felt bad for Dwayne because he had to act like he liked it.
He did have to act like he liked it. But I think I saw some show they were talking about the looks on his kid's face looking at him, because they're like, but were you between a rock and a hard place? But he can't do anything.